And we're going to turn now to the latest on Bill Cosby, this disgraced comedian. He's waking up behind bars this morning, sentenced to at least 3 years in prison for sexual assault. It was an accusation by Andrea Constand that brought him down. The once beloved actor, she is just one of more than 60 women who have accused him of sexual misconduct. ABC's Lindsay Davis is in Norristown, Pennsylvania with more. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, Michael. It has been a long road, 34 months since Bill Cosby's arrest, and what a roller coaster ride of emotions. You know, when we first heard that guilty verdict in the courtroom in April, there was an eruption of reaction, but yesterday, as the sentencing was read, it was silent. And I want to just share one sentiment from a Cosby accuser. Yesterday, she said of his sentencing, "This is a sad time. This is not a time of celebration. None of this should have ever happened."
Any comments, sir?
It is an image that some call surreal, others call sad. But the Bill Cosby accusers we spoke to say it's justice. Bill Cosby shackled in handcuffs and taken directly to jail, sentenced to 3 to 10 years behind bars, convicted of drugging and sexually assaulting Andrea Constand at his home in 2004.
We've got justice!
Constand and several of Cosby's accusers who were in court Tuesday hugging after the sentencing. Constand, just one of more than 60 women who've come forward accusing the star of sexual misconduct.
Finally, Bill Cosby has been unmasked, and we have seen the real man as he is headed off to prison.
The now 81-year-old is the first celebrity of the #MeToo era to be sentenced to jail. A judge declaring the disgraced comedian a sexually violent predator, saying, "It is time for justice, Mr. Cosby. This is all circled back to you. The time has come." This is where Cosby will reside, here at SCI Phoenix, a nearly 4,000-bed lockup in Pennsylvania that opened 2 months ago. His conviction, a stunning fall from grace for the man who portrayed the ultimate family man on The Cosby Show.
I love you.
I love you too.
You know how the kids love Jell-O pudding.
A popular pitchman. He even urged kids to stay out of prison in this clip from Fat Albert.
Now, they're in prison. Now, prison isn't any fun and it isn't any joke.
Bill!
Cosby, now behind bars himself.
And now the appeals process can begin and several of the civil lawsuits against him can get underway. I want to also share that there were several members of the jury who found Bill Cosby guilty inside the courtroom for sentencing yesterday. They said they wanted to see it through, and some of them, George, shed tears.
Okay, Lindsay, thanks very much. We're joined now by Lise-Lotte Lublin, who was one of Bill Cosby's accusers, along with his, excuse me, I just dropped a whole cup of water right there. Gloria, Allred, his attorney, and also Stewart Ryan, one of the prosecutors in the case. And Lisa, let's begin with you. What were you thinking and feeling when you saw that yesterday?
I was overwhelmed. Didn't believe that we would get to that point where he's actually...
You didn't believe it?
Because so many times things don't go exactly the way you plan. You know, you do your best to have, you know, an outcome that you would like to have, but it doesn't mean you're going to. So I think that I was a little bit scared to put too much energy into going, this is how it's going to be, because I think I would have had such a crushing letdown if it didn't, that I just had to kind of go, okay, let me be surprised when it happens. Let me have that moment to just, you know, realize this is real.
The judge said he didn't see any remorse in Bill Cosby. Did you see any of that yesterday?
Absolutely not. He would smirk and laugh at times and shake his head, and his team around him would laugh. It was like they weren't in the same courtroom with us. The reality wasn't there.
But now we know he's going to be a sexually violent predator, labeled that for life. What's the significance of that?
It's very significant, George. Obviously, the judge found that for the protection of the community and the gravity of the offense and the impact on the victims, that not only was it appropriate to sentence him to prison, but, you know, given the testimony by the psychologist, that he met the requirements to be classified as a sexually violent predator. And I'm very glad. Not only do I think it's appropriate, but that means he's going to be required to have lifetime counseling. There's going to be more notification to the community. And I am concerned that he will be released at some point, potentially even in 3 years. And I'm concerned about protection of women, and we never want this to happen again. I just want to also add how proud I am of my client Lise-Lotte Lublin, because she testified as a prior bad act witness in this in the trial in which he was convicted. And I understand that from some of the jurors that the testimony of other accusers, like Lise, was important in the ultimate decision to convict.
And Stewart Ryan, the appeals process, as Lindsay said, now begins. We didn't see Camille Cosby in the courtroom yesterday, but she did put out a statement afterwards saying that they're going to file a motion because they say there was falsified evidence used in the trial, one of these tapes that was played in the trial. Any concern about that?
There isn't a concern, George, and I can tell you that I've tried a number of rape cases, and I can tell you in almost every single one of those, when the defendant is ultimately convicted, like happened here, he has a right to an appeal, and he always follows through with that right. I can tell you that with regard to this last-ditch effort to cook up an appeal issue or really distract from the facts and the issues in this case, this is no different than anything else that's been done throughout the course of this case by the Cosby PR machine. And ultimately, like I said, it's intended to distract from the issues. Bill Cosby is a convicted felon. He was declared to be a sexually violent predator, and now he's an inmate in a state penitentiary.
And my concern also is that apparently Camille Cosby reportedly thinks that there might have been sexism and racism involved in this conviction. I can tell you that 3 of my clients who testified as prior bad act witnesses are African American women. And I think it's insulting to them to suggest that there's sexism and racism. The lives of African American women also matter. If they are the victims of injustice, George, of drugging and sexual assault, then their stories need to be heard in a courtroom. And no man, no matter how rich, no matter how famous, no matter how powerful, should devalue the experience that they had and the suffering that that was inflicted on them by a very famous African-American man.
Do you feel like a wider message has been sent?
Absolutely. I think victims feel that there is a chance and there's an opportunity, and it's safer to go out and actually expose the situation. And that's huge. It's important. At some point, you have to feel like it's going to be okay to say something and you're not going to be hit with backlash.
Thank you all very much. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.